Today on the Topping Show, JD Vance on how the US should react to NATO members' crackdown on free speech and not upholding American values. Leftists are angry that they're being mocked for their breakdown like children after Trump's victory. The LAPD claims that they will not assist in any deportations. The Home Depot Q3 results are in. And Costco has a recall because Americans don't know what butter is. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. And yes, you can in fact mount it to a standard AR-15 Picatinny rail, as all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com to learn more. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have, well, Home Depot, their Q3 results are in and they're mixed, but we'll take a little bit deep dive here. Now, going to the OG search engine, thanks to Yahoo Finance, which somehow is still around. Actually, we'll jump into their stock performance quickly first, which, again, not financial advice. It's always, hindsight's 2020. 5-year trend, pretty darn impressive, up 69.87%. Granted, by the time this video is rendered and uploaded, it'll change the price because that's what the stock market does, but currently trading for $403.27 per share. Zoom in a little bit. Past years, up 41%, pretty darn good. Year to date, it's up 18. Past month, not the best, down about 1%. And past week, down around, up about 2.88%. And looks like the market cap is, not available, but let's see here. Yeah, 52-week low is $287. So, yep, hindsight is always 2020 when it comes to investing. Now, thanks to the OG search engine, Yahoo Finance. Specifically, this writer over there is Ankash Bashki, who's a writer over there, credited them for this. It says, quote, Home Depot Q3 earnings, revenue, and earnings per share beat lifts full-year forecast despite customer traffic dip, which is pretty interesting. That's one of the biggest metrics when it comes to physical retail, brick and mortar, is how many people are going to the store and how long do they stay there, and then obviously, what's the purchase per person. And I say, quote, Home Depot stock is trading higher after home improvement retailer beat its third quarter earnings estimates and lifted its full 2024 outlook, which it makes sense. Usually fiscal Q4 is the best time of year for most companies. There's a reason, they call Back in Black. Well, not just the great song by AC/DC, but it's also a fiscal term in terms of the accountants back in the day when you actually had physical ledgers, where, you actually use red ink and black ink. Black Friday is Black Friday because you're supposed to actually make a profit during that day, where most companies would be maybe negative throughout the year where they're actually losing money. Now, they say, quote, Home Depot reported third quarter sales grew 6.6% year over year to, geez Louise, $40.217 billion, beating the consensus estimates of $39.173 billion. Customer transactions for the quarter fell slightly 0.2%. Comparable sales decreased 1.3%, and comparable sales in the U.S. dropped 1.2%. Gross profit rose 5.4% year over year to $13.425 billion. Well, before the government steals it, taxes it. With a margin of 33.4%, down 40 BPS year over year. The operating margin was 13.3%, down 86 BPS year over year, and operating income for the quarter dropped 0.22% to $5.418 billion. The adjusted operating margin slipped 13.8%, ouch, to 14.05 year over year. Operation expenses increased 9.2% year over year to $8.01 billion, which, geez Louise, that's a pretty big uptick. Adjusting earnings per share was $3.78 per share, which is down 1.8% year over year, but being consensus of $3.64 per share. The average ticket in the third quarter was $88.65, which, that's pretty good. Average ticket being, if you go to Home Depot, that's going to be the average transaction for if you go there and actually shop for something, which, as someone who's gone to Home Depot many times, I think I went there probably between 20 or 30 times when I'm making these podcast tables, which, fun experience. And granted, America with American components will last darn near forever. But yeah, there's always that extra supply. Where you go, oh shoot, need to go get some of that extra tape from Home Depot or extra screws and yada yada. Now, they say that, that's $88.65 or $88.65 per share or per sale is a 0.8% decrease. And they know that the sales per square retail foot declined 2.1% to $582.97 per share. As of October 27th, the company held $1.531 billion in cash and equivalents, generating operating cash flow of $15.139 billion for 9 months, compared to $16.439 billion a year ago, which, yeah, it makes sense. It's been a pretty rough year for most companies, big and small. Now, thankfully, both because of regulation and perception, I suspect next year will be a lot better for most companies, because traditionally, when you get a Republican in the White House, usually there's less regulation, a little more tax incentives for businesses. So, and usually customer sentiment or consumer sentiment does increase. So, again, not financial advice, but I think things are going to pick up even more next year. Now, they noted for the 2024 outlook, they actually raised it. So the Home Depot raised its sales guidance from $156.49 billion to $158.01 billion to $158.7 billion versus $158.78 billion versus the $157.33 billion consensus. They expect comparable sales to decline approximately 2.5%, and they now expect adjusted earnings per share of $15.10 per share. So it'll be interesting to see how they do Q4. Granted, most companies do pick up Q4. Sales are going to be booming. Hopefully everyone's sales are for Q4. And let me know. It'll be interesting. I know obviously they have one of the best places to go buy tools and hard duty appliances in terms of, there are some people who outfit or retrofit their kitchens. There are restorations there. That being said, do you think it's going to pick up Q4 like traditionally most companies do, or do you think people are still going to pull back a little bit? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the culture part podcast, you have Trump derangement syndrome in full effect, as leftists are now angry that we are mocking them for their childlike behavior, which is fascinating to see the juxtaposition of two sides. After 2020, not only Republicans who actually cried, and yet there seems to be a disproportionate amount of leftists who cry, which, again, leftists are different than traditional Democrats. They seem to be exponentially increasing in the percentage of the party, but nevertheless, now they're upset that we're making fun of them for legal adults crying because of the outcome of an election, which, yeah, pretty childish to say the least. Now this comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, which she says, quote, "The crying, screeching liberals are mad that we're mocking them online. You know what to do." Let's see here. Here's a interesting gal. Let's see what she has to say. Perhaps she will surprise us with eloquence and brilliance and articulation of what are the top 3 specific reasons she was really disappointed Kamala lost? Was there really profound policies or ideals that she thinks would help the average American out? Oh, no, probably not, but we'll dive in. And
I just want to say,
again, this was a bizarre thing. They're voluntarily putting this out there. This was apparently on the TikTok, of course. But well, maybe she wants to be famous for the bad reasons. I don't know.
I just want to say, I know this week has been an incredibly difficult week for a lot of us.
Has it?
It's been difficult. There's just no words, right? It's an understatement.
I was gonna say she's starting worse than me, and that's saying something.
It's been a lot. What I came on here to say, first and foremost, is that if you are someone who is online right now commenting, reposting stories, or making fun of the people who are sad this week, or belittling them, mocking them, if that's something that you are actively doing and finding joy in online right now, truly, just the biggest of these. How dare you?
She has a wedding ring on? Cliche. No, I was kidding. It is fascinating to see the demographics. One of the biggest things that Trump lost in terms of people who turned out and voted for him in terms of demos was the stay-at-home white liberal mom, which you can hear from background, she has kids.
Try to invalidate something that an entire group, multiple groups of humans are going through right now, whether they're feeling scared or helpless. Any of those feelings, as a human, would you laugh at another human when you see that they're obviously struggling? Fuck the biggest of dicks. And I don't mean that in a good way.
What? How dare she use that explicitive? Or, yeah, I was gonna say, that seems a little homophobic. How is she not getting canceled right now? The cliche. And, again, I don't encourage laughing or making fun of people for having a real hardship, like if they break a leg or something, lose a family member. No, that's being poor taste. If you're an adult crying because your person didn't win, also, you chose the worst possible candidate, also, your party didn't elect someone, you pushed her in and pushed Biden out, it is interesting. I can't help but think the 2 biggest times when Democrats ignored what the Democrat actually voters wanted, when they voted for Bernie, Democrats pushed in and wheeled in Hillary, didn't work out. People voted for Biden on the Democrat side, and they wheeled out Kamala. Both times, epic fails. Maybe they'll learn. I I doubt it. Or maybe they'll actually listen to what the voters want. Perhaps I'm being foolishly optimistic to think that. But yeah, she's clearly struggling, which this has to be the ultimate first world problem. She either doesn't have a job or doesn't have enough housework. You have time to set up a camera and cry because someone didn't win an election. And the interesting thing is, I debate if I should place any wagers with some of my leftist friends and my liberal friends, because many of them are online complaining, granted not to this extent, but I really love to just bet, like, you know what, $5. If anything in your life gets worse the next 4 years, personally, they can actually quantify, I'll pay you $5. Because again, I really don't think any metric is going to get worse in the next 4 years. I think pretty much every one of them is going to get better. But let's go ahead and look at the comments. Maybe everyone's giving her kudos and saying, "Oh, you go, girl. We'll stop right now." I mean, probably not, but we'll go ahead and I'll dive on in there. One of the first comments comes from Planet of Memes, who did in fact use a meme. So A+ for marketing. They did in fact stick to the name today, saying, quote, "This is the way." And it's a parody of Sun Tzu, The Art of War, saying, quote, "Meme them until they cry, then make memes about them crying." Getting 5.1 thousand likes. Another one from Wall Street Silver says, "We appreciate the content you're giving us. Thank you." That's all. Getting 288 likes. Let's see here. Jimmy Falk 5 says, "Here's a liberal pollster who brags about shouting and mocking at Trump supporters before the election. It's the elitism and arrogance conservatives are fed up with." And it's about a little long. 2 minutes, we'll do a minute of it.
Popcorn out and put extra butter on it because this is too good not to post.
Time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today.
Not to be cliche, but just so happens to be a white lady.
And my most important encounter was when I went out to get my champagne. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course, asking him, did he vote? And he said he did early voting, and he asked me if I early voted. And he's asked me, why I was getting the champagne. And I said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face. And I said, she's going to win this, right? He says, oh, well, it's very, very close. And I said, no, it's not. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's not. The women of America are making their voices heard.
Wait for it.
Reproductive rights is what it all comes down to.
Oh, how mentally vacuous is this gal? They're so misinformed. This election, again, they're so mentally vacuous. Again, for the umpteenth time, that was not on the ballot this year. That's a state's issue. So if you want to make changes, go talk to your state representatives, and it'll be changed there. If you want to kill babies up to day of birth, they have that. It's called Minnesota. If you want more restrictions, you want to actually, save lives, well, they have more restrictive states like the great state, or some might argue the great country of Texas. That was never on the ballot. It's not on the federal level anymore. That was the whole thing about overturning Roe v. Wade. And yet, again, as I said throughout this past couple months, they're convinced that this was a thing they had to get on the ballot and vote for. Well, maybe women just wanted a good economy. Maybe they wanted to afford groceries again. Maybe they didn't want to get attacked with Venezuelan gangs taking over whole apartment complexes in Colorado. But she's mostly insufferable. Let's continue to see what she has to say.
And the women are voting in numbers relative to men that are unbelievable. She's won this.
That actually is true. Women statistically do take more time to actually vote. Thank God a lot of men are actually waking up to the fact that politics is important, and they are getting out the vote.
I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus
She needs to do stand up. It's hilariously, hindsight's 2020. Yeah, Kamala lost all the swing states. Yeah, fascinatingly enough, she won most of the states where they didn't require voter ID. Surely a coincidence, I'm sure.
And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there.
I'm waiting for her to say, I have an MBA or a double banana falcon creditization. I'm a political analyst. Hubris.
She's taking this election. And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right?
He did not.
Laughing at us.
He in fact did not.
And I didn't care. I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home.
That's why they lost.
Bye-bye.
That attitude is why they lost.
So, as you know...
Oh, she has a reaction for November 6th? I said we were going to do part of this clip. We got to watch that. Okay, we'll go on. It's only about a minute more longer.
Kamala Harris did not win the election.
Well.
As the numbers stand
she's correct in that regard. I would love to know, how did 18 million votes just disappear from all that? They just decided not to vote this year? That'd be interesting.
And as I have said all along, you have to have a huge, huge turnout. And it goes to the Dems. And we didn't have it.
No, you didn't.
And there's going to be a lot of speculating going on about
What?
everything that happened, everything that was wrong, every decision
Wrong?
that was made, every
It was
aspect
totally
of this
right.
whole thing. And the reality
America
is
got it
that
right.
Kamala Harris ran the most impressive campaign,
They still think that.
mounting and running it, and having only 3 months in which to do it.
I don't like.
Most impressive campaign. It was the worst campaign of my lifetime. And worst fiscal ROI. Trump spent like a third of what she did campaigning. I think she spent over $1 billion. And apparently she has to pay some money back. And she still lost epically. Yeah. So Trump spent a fraction of the money and won the swing states and America. And pretty much geographically all of America, except the shitties. Yeah. Fascinating to see. So upset. Which, yeah, we'll see if we ever find out what happened to those 18 million votes that voters just seemingly vanished from year over year. It's a fascinating thing. Now, that went pretty well. I got 2.8 thousand likes for that one. Let's see here. Scrolling down more and more, you have Aaron KN said, "There's so far left off the deep end wackadoos." And it says, quote, "I would like to thank publicly the Democratic Party for consistently reminding me of why I'm conservative and will always be," unquote. Getting 1.9 thousand likes, which, yeah, Democrats have gone so far off the deep end. And that being said, well, there are a lot of diehard Republicans who, shoot, wind back the clock 15, 20 years ago, kind of looks like Republican Party now. And the Democrats, well, shoot, it's just way off, basically San Francisco as a party, which, yeah, does not win you national elections. Sunny Shines says, quote, "Maybe they shouldn't be filming themselves crying and freaking out and post it all over social media." Getting 3.8 thousand likes. That's a good point. Let's see. Minds of E says, "Why would they think, or who would have thought that recklessly calling people fascists, bigots, and racists could generate such backlash eventually?" Getting 2,000 likes. Yep. Let's see. What on earth is this? Was this lady just breaking down? I wonder if she's married too. White lady at home. Wearing a rudimentary. Is that a t-shirt? Not a queen of fashion. She has to do deep breathing exercises covers an election, which by pretty much every metric will probably make her life better. One more cry.
Everybody wants to show the happy side. I'm mad as hell today!
Fascinatingly enough, she does not have blue or purple hair.
But because I have responsibilities, I'm gonna do these freaking dishes.
She actually does something in her life, so that's, at least she does something productive. I'll give her that much. She's going to do dishes, which, if you're actually doing them manually, I give them some credit, because, yeah, that's one of the few luxury items I really appreciate having since, what was that, since I moved to college, or went to college. I've gotten really lucky. Most places, the apartments I rent always had a dishwasher. That's one of the few modern luxuries I truly appreciate. But, yeah, breaking down and crying as an election, and screaming. Yeah, that got 940 likes. Another friendly reminder to like this video as well. Paul Zazupa also says that crying shame getting 196 likes. Is in country. Everyone's sticking up for these crazy ladies. Well, not so much. DEL says these people are insane. Donald Trump needs to reopen mental asylums and admit these lunatics in immediately, getting 940 likes. Which, again, if you're crying and breaking down like that, how rational of a brain are you? Are you really making an informed vote? And completely just breaking down, crying. Face of insanity. Look at that. Not a pretty sight. That's coming from me. Keep it in mind. Oof. So you do one or two more comments here. Frank says, "Cry harder" is a picture of Trump sipping from, oh, this is fancy, Diet Coke from a glass. Literally a glass. Says, "Damn, these are good liberal tears." Getting 130 likes. So I'm sure this is not this isn't the first time we've seen this go viral on social media. I suspect it will not be the last time. I can't help but think there'll probably be a big one during the inauguration as well. People, falling to their knees and just being really just irate. And the American people voted for a good economy, a secure border, low inflation. Pretty nice. But let me know in the comments. Do you think they'll actually wise up and stop, projecting these things out there? Again, I'm not sure how this makes these gals a profit, or maybe it is bolstering their social media so they can someday become crying influencers, which, again, that could be fiscally attractive. They could make a living off that, perhaps. Let me know in the comments, though, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the political part of the podcast, you have JD Vance on NATO crackdown on free speech and how we should react to the whole NATO not respecting American values, which he gives one of the most articulate answers, and yet another reason I think Trump made an exceptional choice when he chose JD Vance for VP. Now, this is first brought to us thanks to Colin Rugg on the good old X, or as fewer and fewer people are calling it, Twitter. And he says, quote, JD Vance on how the U.S. should respond when NATO countries threaten Americans like Elon over free speech. Let's see here. And of course, like all good men, JD Vance, of course, did suit up. Fascinating. We don't see a lot of people in suits crying over the election.
The leader, I forget exactly which official it was within the European Union, but sent Elon this threatening letter that basically said, we're going to arrest you if you platform Donald Trump, who, by the way, is the likely next president of the United States. So what America should be saying is, oh, if NATO wants us to continue supporting them, and NATO wants us to continue to be a good participant in this military alliance, why don't you respect American values and respect free speech?
Yep.
Excuse me, it's insane that we would support a military alliance if that military alliance isn't going to be pro-free speech. I think we can.
And also, why are we supporting communists that disarm their civilians and only let the government have guns? Why would we support that evil?
Can do both, but we've got to say American power comes with certain strings attached. One of those is respect free speech, especially in our European allies. Like, look, I'm not going to go to some backwoods country and tell them how to live their lives, but European countries should theoretically share American values, especially about some very basic things like free speech.
Especially how many times have we bailed them out throughout the years with all the wars? And yet, what payback have we really gotten? I mean, we pay a lot of money to UN and NATO. And yet, where's the ROI from that? Now, this went pretty viral. Again, recording was obviously pre-election, but it went viral again, getting 6.2 million views. Those 99,000 likes. Could we make it 1,000? Or 100,000 rather? No, but did like it nevertheless. Well, the first comments comes from Jane Adams saying, quote, JD Vance is right. Why should we defend NATO if they're going to attack American values like free speech? If these European nations can't respect our fundamental freedom, why are we even in an alliance? We must put America first, not appease global elites who want to silence us. Amen to that. She got 2.5 thousand likes. Colin Rugg responded saying, quote, this is the common sense our country needed has been missing the past 4 years. Well, let's be honest. It's been most of my lifetime, but yes, that too. Red Wave Press says, America's most powerful nation on the earth. We should dictate the rules of NATO and the countries in it. Getting 708, let's make it 710 likes, which we also pay into NATO. How much have we wasted on that? Let's pull it up really quick. And when I say pull up, I'm just going to look up on the AI that X has called, is it Grok or Grok? I don't know how to pronounce it, but how much has the U.S. given NATO in total? As we have crumbling streets, homeless veterans, and people are struggling in the United States, we have given NATO how much? Let's see. The U.S. contributes about 15.8% of NATO's annual cross-common funded budget, which amounted to approximately $3.59 billion in 2024. That alone? Jeez. Let's see. Excuse me. Let's see. Historical contributions. Jesus, what a waste of money. We have crappy streets in the United States. We have homeless veterans. We have people who are struggling. And yet, over the past 75 years, the United States has contributed a total of $21.9 trillion to NATO's defense efforts. Wow. Now, I understand some of those figures might come from reinvestment in U.S. defense contractors, but still, $21.9 trillion. That's ridiculous. And a friendly reminder, worth, was it $35.8 trillion in debt right now? And yet we keep giving money to all these organizations, which, for life of me, I don't see how they actually benefited us. I mean, how many of those nations helped out when we had the hurricanes here? We give them billions and trillions of dollars. And again, we have FEMA, who actually made it worse, but I partially digress. Going down more and more, Paul Zupa says, quote, clearly the U.S. needs to defund NATO. What benefit has NATO served us over the past decade? Gained 1.2 thousand likes. Yep. Mr. Bigglesworth Memes says, make pets safe again. It's a squirrel says, don't tread on me. Oh, Mr. Peanut. Getting 537 likes. Valentina Gomez says, every agency and organization has been weaponized against President Trump and Elon Musk, but they only made them bigger, getting 799 likes. Let's see here. Oh, this is a funny thing. James McDaniel says, quote, Donald Trump previously warned Germany about their energy supply being reliant on Russia. At this time, or on this one, he proved them to be right, which, yeah. And they actually laughed at Trump when he said, you guys are getting pretty dependent on Russia for your natural, all your fuel as you shut down production natively in your countries because you want to appear green. Which, yeah, it didn't work out so well with them when they decided to have the whole world versus Russia. Let's see here. And we also have, this is a good reminder too, Anti-Woke Memes says, quote, did JD Vance just save the US or UK from tyranny? This picture of Superman says, when I post a meme in the rest of the world, this picture of Superman being arrested saying, when I post a meme in the UK. Guys, 823, let's make it 824 likes. Because, yeah, you do get arrested for memes or memes in the UK. They let out violent, I'm trying to keep this moderately family friendly. They keep out violent criminals who abuse women and children. They don't arrest those. They let them out. But they'll arrest people who post memes. That's the UK. It's become a joke, a rudimentary place. I don't know why anyone would frankly ever want to visit there, but it does still exist somehow. So, JD Vance, yet again, proving why he's an exceptional candidate. I cannot wait to see what he does, once Inauguration Day comes. And let me know. Do you think this just further proves the point of why he's an exceptional leader? And do you think the U.S. will actually do anything to hold NATO accountable or have them carry their fair share or contribute anything to us? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have the LAPD claiming, oh yeah, they're not going to assist in deportations. Which makes sense. I mean, they only arrest criminals over in California, where people, you get what you vote for, they brilliantly decided, let's make it not a felony to steal up to $950, which used to be, and given the fact that the public justice system is a volume business, typically it works with plea deals. So instead of pleading from a felony down to misdemeanor, they're now dealing with going from misdemeanor to basically nothing. And of course, you also have district attorneys who just don't prosecute anything. There is a reason they actually lock up cereal and deodorant in places like San Francisco, because the theft is that rampant. Fascinatingly enough, I've never seen them lock work boots or Bibles, but I partially digress. Now, this comes to us thanks to Liv's of TikTok, which she says, quote, who wants to tell him that they're getting deported whether he likes it or not. And this is Liv's of TikTok saying, quote, newly sworn in Los Angeles police chief says the LAPD won't assist with deportations and he'll protect the illegals in his city. Because, of course, they protect criminals over there.
LAPD will
This is Jim McConnell sworn in as new LAPD chief.
LAPD will protect our immigrant community. LAPD officers will not take action to determine a person's immigration status and will not arrest someone for their status. And LAPD will not assist with mass deportations. Los Angeles is a city of immigrants, and I know immigrants are being disparaged right now.
Illegal ones. The legal ones, no one has a problem. Like, okay, maybe 5 a-holes in the United States don't. There's maybe 5 to 10 people who are irate about legal immigrants. That's not the hot topic. It's the illegal ones, which, again, many of them are criminals, and they've abused women and children, and they're dealing drugs. Like, they're actually taking over entire apartment complexes in places like Colorado, where, again, you get what you vote for. The Venezuelan gangs taking over a couple of entire apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado, extorting rent from the people who are there. And yeah, but he's not going to do anything about California, which, what is this? Reason 9,958,735,023 not to do business or go to California, at least without a robust military escort? Like, just ridiculous.
But I want the people of Los Angeles to know my viewpoint. Our nation was built by immigrants, and
No one's debating that.
LA, such an extraordinary city, because of the people here.
I'm sorry, I thought he was doing a joke about Los Angeles. Oh, I thought it was it wasn't a joke. He should do stand-up, though.
And LA, such an extraordinary city, because of the people here from literally all over the world.
Which, again, no one's debating the legal immigrants. I mean, shoot, my family came here legally, and yeah, he's clumping them all in together. Now, not too surprising, this went not as well as it should, actually. It got about 173,000 views and 40.1 thousand likes. When it first comments coming from Cool Christian Engineer saying, quote, he'll figure it out in no time, getting 25 likes. Well, the first one comes from TVD saying, pack your bags. It's a picture of Trump saying, damn, these little tears are good. Well, he's not saying that's the meme or meme, getting 27 likes. Matt Crossite says, quote, someone should tell him that there's a huge difference between immigrants and illegal immigrants. I can't imagine the police in the city agree with this. Why is the guy in law enforcement if he doesn't want to enforce the law, getting 40 likes? Which, that's a good question. It's got to be a really easy job. Not, again, there are some good police officers in California, don't get me wrong, but on average, pretty sweet gig if you can just be an officer and you don't actually enforce any of the laws. That sounds like a pretty easy gig in California. I'm surprised the number of applicants isn't skyrocketing through the roof. But I probably should digress. Someone by the name of Life God gun in the memes, but he does not have a gun in the memes. A little disappointed. He says, quote, who agrees? It's a picture of the bathroom guy logo, and he's raising his hand. It says, quote, raise your hand if you agree. Close the border. Deport every illegal alien. Getting 27 likes. Brady says, quote, he will protect the illegals, but won't protect American citizens. Getting 90 likes. True. Ruthless World saying, quote, man, it's going to suck when they lose their federal funding. Getting 21 likes. Which, yeah, historically, California is pretty inept at balancing a budget, similar to places like Illinois. And yes, I'm intentionally mispronouncing it just to disrespect them a little bit. A little backhanded, I suppose. But nevertheless, yeah, they really can't balance budgets. They spend a lot of money and produce, well, I was going to say there's some good tech companies, but in terms of like the public sector, what was it? Gavin Newsom, they just lost $25 billion when it comes to helping the homeless. That was what they budgeted. They spent it, and yet they couldn't quantify what they did or, show a budget in terms of like, oh yeah, this money went here, and it did X, Y, Z. Which, yeah. Another friendly reminder that the government can fail an audit every single time. But if it happens to us, well, yeah, they'll physically get abusive with us, take us to prison. Curtail your wages forever if you and I make a mistake. But I'd also, at the scale of California, that's not a mistake, that's corruption, but I partially digress. Scrolling down more and more. Keith Dorshire says, quote, why am I not surprised that a California official would refuse to enforce the law? I would expect nothing else. Getting 27 likes. The Right Girl says, literally no one cares what the LAPD police chief says, or Newscum, for that matter. They destroy their cities. They're so bold they think they have more control over our elected president, getting 50 likes, which, historically speaking, Trump really didn't intervene too much in terms of states. Like, he didn't send the National Guard. When a lot of people were saying Trump should have sent the National Guard during the George Floyd Summer of Love riots, he really didn't. He's pretty, it's obviously they always make him seem more bombastic and, evil and, more extreme, but he was pretty laid back from a president's perspective. He didn't really do much intervention on the state level. Maybe he'll do it now because he doesn't have to worry about re-election. I'm not sure what the odds are that Trump does that. I hope he goes after especially like the gangs in Colorado, just because, and it's unfortunate because the people get what you vote for, because again, the local police are barely doing anything there and they get their orders from government. And I apologize, I need to speak up and enunciate a little bit more. It's constantly one of the things I'm attempting to work on. Another friendly reminder to click that subscribe button. Every Thursday when I first started the show, basically no one tuned in, except maybe family members, and I spoke terribly. Truth be told, spoke even faster back then, stumbled over my words, worse than Joe Biden trying to climb upstairs. However, as I slowly but surely gained more subscribers, I become more and more articulate. Yes, the bar was quite low, a lot of room for improvement, but I believe the theory will be proven true, and someday I'll make it through an entire episode speaking perfectly articulately. A tall pie in the sky dream, some might say, but you gotta aim for the stars, a wise man once said. So if you can click that button, tell your friends, greatly appreciate it. Shoot, tell your enemies actually, send it to them. Perhaps they'll actually like the content so much they become your friends. Or they find it so distasteful they don't like it, they actually become even more of an enemy, in which case you poke the bear, which might be moderately entertaining, though not necessarily recommended, but I partially digress. Going back to the main comment section here, Florida Breeze says, you have no power here, and getting 3 likes, which, well, that is in fact true, because it is Florida. Vegas Conservative News says, they act like that by saying that they're not helping. Trump will suddenly just go, oh, my apologies, have another great day, and give up a deportation. Not going to happen. Getting 5 likes, which, yeah, I think of all the top issues Trump's going to address, the deportation and securing the border is going to be one of the top ones. I think that's one of the reasons so many people did vote for him in overwhelming historic numbers. But the question is, will he go into California? Will he actually send troops there? Will he send additional forces? Or will it be something that they settle in the courtroom where they sue each other over it? Let me know what your thoughts are. What's the outcome? What will the outcome be in places like California and Illinois and New York, where they don't want to deport anyone. Well, I guess Eric Adams is trying to. Well, he's open to idea apparently in New York, but he's also, being attacked. A lot of people are citing lawfare. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Costco doing a butter recall because, well, Americans don't know what butter is, apparently. Now, this comes to us thanks to the good old Quartz.com, which, fascinatingly enough, not a watch website, which, well, disappointing given how popular the Quartz movement is. One would think that would be the case, but no, not so much. Now, specifically, Bruce Gill, who's a writer over there, says, quote, Costco is recalling about almost 80,000 pounds of butter because apparently people don't know butter has milk, which, yeah, of all that, I think Trump needs to, let's get rid of the Department of Education. They have hopefully failed in pretty much every metric. Again, friendly reminder, the test scores for students for ACT test scores, 32-year low. And yet teachers unions say they deserve more money. Logic. Well, public sector logic. Here you can see the iconic logo of the Costco. And I say, quote, Costco is voluntarily recalling some of its butter products because they're missing, quote, contains milk on the label. And they're worried, and again, given how litigious U.S. society is and how mentally vacuous some people are, they're worried, well, someone might be allergic and they don't know what butter is, and then they sue Costco, and given some judges, they would, unfortunately, might win. Now, they say, quote, Costco is recalling nearly 80,000 pounds of its store brand butter products last month because they're missing a legally required allergy statement, which the fact that it has to be a law is just so sad. It reminds me of a meme where someone says, you used to have your car owner's manual tell you how to adjust timing and on the timing belts and the valve timing. And now you have a warning on your car that says, don't drink the battery acid. Perhaps a sad metaphor for modern society and how much we've declined in intellect, as well as how litigious we've become. Now they say, quote, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration classified a recall as Class 2 on November 7th. This designation is defined by the agency as a situation in which use or exposure to a volatile product may contain temporary or medical irreversible adverse health consequences from butter. But the probability of serious adverse health consequences is remote. Continental Dairy Facilities in Southwest Midland, a Texas-based manufacturer of milk products, initiated the recall in October because the Kirkland signature brand products may be missing the contains milk statement. Costco did not immediately respond for a request for comment. Now, no one should care about this, but in terms of, the SKUs, you shouldn't be worried about this. Granted, maybe I should say not health advice. To quote, 1,300 cases or 46,800 pounds of the Kirkland signature unsalted sweet butter cream. Looks like the 1 pound and as well as the 4-ounce sticks. 900 cases of or 32,400 pounds of Kirkland signature salted sweet cream butter. 1 pound as well as the 4-ounce sticks. The affected products were distributed across the state of Texas and labeled with a best buy dates between February 25th, 2025 and March 29th, 2025. Now, of course, they're saying they're just saying common symptoms if you have allergies from food could be face swelling, vomiting, cramps, rash, wheezing. And yeah, again, it's the legal thing they have to have it on there. So the business blunder, don't get me wrong, is Costco. So part of me thinks it should be a 50-50 in terms of the business blunder is almost a societal blunder. The fact that some Americans don't realize that butter contains milk, and the fact that we're so litigious, this would probably be a lawsuit if they didn't actually recall it. And again, they're most likely they're throwing this product away. They're actually going to take the time to. So it's, we're literally throwing food away because of how litigious our society is. So technically, the business blunder day is Costco, but I would say it's also a little bit humanity as well for this butter situation. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.